Well, hello everyone. I'm about a week behind what I intended to be. I was hoping to start doing these monthly, and I'm a little bit over 1 month since my last video, but here I am. Really? You just now decide you want to do this, huh? I've got both dogs on the couch with me. This is Maka right here. So, you might see faces, or you might see where she's gonna lay down. And Charlie's laying on the other side of me, so I don't know if her head will pop up or not. But they are here with me today. Yeah, I got my Stitchy bug back for a little while, and then I lost it. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm hoping I'll recatch it. It's been a stressful last couple weeks. I don't know if I'm gonna do a life update here or not. I just got a massage, so apparently Maka really likes the homemade body butter that the massage therapist used. Maybe you shouldn't lick that. I don't know what's in it, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. No more vet visits for a while. It has been decreed. So, yeah. So, yeah, snuggles are okay. We'll allow snuggles. So I have some stuff for you. I have a finish. I have 3 new starts where I should have 4. I'm going to talk about the 4th one. It's July 30th as I'm filming this. So we're getting ready to go into August. Lots going on, but yeah, we'll dive right in. I'll show you my finish. I'll show you what I'm working on. I'll talk a little bit about plans such as they are, and then we'll do some reading, watching, listening to. Oh, it might help if I was using the ring light, if I actually turn the light on. Just a minute here. There we go. A little bit better color. My babies, just my babies, yes. So anyway, my finish. Nothing too terribly exciting. You saw it on my last video. I talked about it. It was my February start for my monthly Mill Hill. It was UFO, and here it is, all done. And the cool thing about it is all of those clear beads. So along here, the top, the yellow ones, and then down in here in the tractor beam type, whatever, those are all glow in the dark. So I haven't verified it yet, but they should glow in the dark. And there you have it. So I finished 2 Mill Hills this year. Woohoo! Yes, there's my finish. I am in the middle of a huge brain fog right now. I think it's stress related. So I'm probably gonna stumble over myself a lot. I'm probably gonna repeat a lot, but I wanted to get a video out. So here I am in all my not glory. So speaking of Mill Hill monthlies, that is the project that I should have started, was my Mill Hill monthly. I have it here. Oh, I also have a new acquisition I can talk about too. It's sitting right there. Again, brain fog, thoughts in every direction. Sorry in advance, this one's gonna be messy. So the first new start I have, I worked on around the 4th of July. I was just looking for something small. I was going to stay at a friend's house, and I was looking for something small that could come along with me easily, and this kind of fit the bill. It is Unicorn and Friends by Tiny Modernist. This is an exclusive design. You can only get it at Mystic Fabrics in Rushville, Indiana, or on their website. And yeah, I think it's a cute little guy. I really liked it. I was excited to get started on it. The reason it was so easy for me to do was, even though I have a full master set of DMC, I had ordered the kit that had all the DMC in it, so I was able to just stuff it in a project bag, throw it in my suitcase, and go. And here is where I am at with it so far. I'm doing it on the model fabric, which is Mystic Fabrics. Reflection, I'm doing it in 16 count Aida. And here's what I got so far. Just a little start while I was on vacation. I got maybe like 400 stitches in, not a ton. but it stitches very fast. So when I get back around to working on it, I expect it won't take me too long to finish it up, as long as that stitching mojo comes back. So I mentioned I went on vacation to stay at a friend's house. My friend's family has a lovely cabin on Lake Michigan. The last couple of years, they have invited me to come stay for the 4th weekend. And they usually invite me up again in October. And her mother said to me at one point this weekend, you know where everything is, your family, just do your thing. And I really love that they've kind of embraced me like that, and that they think about me when they come up and stay and invite me to come up and hang out. So I wanted to do something nice for them, because they never let me pay for a meal. They never let me bring anything. You know, it's just, nope, you just come and be here. So I want to do something. So I decided that I am going to make them something. And so I'm working on this project. No, I think it's this side that usually things come up on. I'm working on this project. It's called Love Michigan. I do not remember the designer or the artist offhand right now. I will put it in the description, I think. I don't know how much editing I'm gonna do on this one. Again, brain fog. I don't know if I have the patience to do much editing other than adding in pictures of the patterns this time, but we'll see. Maybe it's up there, maybe it's not. I don't know. You know before I do, actually, probably. But yes, I'm doing this pattern for them. I am doing it on 16 count Biscuit by Mystic Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month in April 2023. I've barely gotten started on it, and I figure I have to work on this a little bit every day between now and next summer to get it done and to the framer in time to have it for next 4th of July, which is my ultimate goal. So we'll see if I make it. But here's where I'm at right now. So I've got the outline of the L started, and you can't see it very well, but I'm starting to fill in some of the blue up here. I've got the line where the cloud starts delineated so that I can just fill in the blue and then start filling in the cloud and kind of just fill in so that this should be a not very thinky pattern. Like if I can just do the lines where I know it's a lot of big chunks of color. And so hopefully it will be a relatively fast stitch for the size. And I have some pet peeves about the pattern, but I'm not going to go into them right now. It's a beautiful pattern. It's just, it was a little bit difficult to get set up initially because of some ways that they did the charting. But the chart is very clear once I got those out of the way. And if you want to know more, you can always ask me. And then the last thing I'm working on, we are coming up to fair time. It's August 16th, I think, is the start, which means I have to have all my stuff out there on the 15th. One of my pet peeves about our fair is that they only have one, you're allowed to enter one item in each category. They only have one section for cross stitch. They used to have 2 where you could do a life cross stitch and then a objects cross stitch. And they didn't do that this year. It's just cross stitch. But there are a couple other categories. One of them is Christmas ornaments. And so I am thinking I'm going to I bought some, I guess I have more acquisition than I thought. I bought some ornaments. I hoped I might be able to finish in time. It's not going to happen. So what I think I'm going to do for ornament is I am going to finish our little perfect hot chocolate as an ornament instead of I was originally going to make it like a little photo. But then the more I thought about it, or not a photo, a little portrait picture frame. It's teeny tiny, and I think it'd probably make a good ornament. I just make a pillow style ornament out of it, line it with some of that crime scene ribbon I've got, and yeah, it's limit 3. It doesn't say you have to have 3. So we're gonna try that and see what happens. And then the other category that they have is they have cross stitch under decorative item. So I'm sitting here like, what can I do for a decorative item that could stitch relatively fast because I don't have much time left and that I would actually like. And so I came up with the idea of making a biscornu. And the one I am working on is Tiny Modernist Parrot Biscornu. And here's where I'm at. So I'm almost halfway done with the top. And I am really loving it. I love the colors. It's a fast stitch. It fits my theme in life, beaches and booze. B-O-O-S, not B-O-O-Z-E, although that's good too. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun little addition to my craft room if I ever get that cleaned and organized. I want to put some of my beachy themed project stuff in there, so having a little beachy biscornu to stick my pins in would be a good idea. So those are what I've been working on. Again, I said I should have had 4 starts for you, and the reason why is I haven't started a monthly Mill Hill for July yet. I have picked it out. I've been taking it with me. I've been carrying the biscornu around because I've been doing I've had some situations where I may have been able to work on it at work. And so I was carrying the biscornu, and I was also carrying my monthly Mill Hill, which for this month is from the Autumn Harvest collection. It is Batty. Got to do more Halloween tree ornaments, and again, I haven't started it yet, so it's still in the package. But I have to start it today or tomorrow, so I will probably do a few stitches on it tonight. Today's my day off, so I'll probably throw a few stitches in on it tonight just so that I can say I started it. But the biscornu is getting all my love right now until it is done. And that is FFO'd because I have to take it out to the fair on August 15th. So I've got a little over 2 weeks. Wish me luck. Knitting. Okay. So I don't have any knitting to show you. I don't have any progress. In fact, I have negative progress. The hat I was working on pretty much imploded on itself. I have the Addy Click set with the various different sizes of needles that have the connector so that you have in one small package all of the different size circular needles. I don't know if it's the way I knit or if I am doing something wrong because it has come unhooked like 4 times now. And each time resulted in a bunch of drop stitches. I tried recovering it, but I had trouble with it. I had a couple of counting errors that were where the pattern was very obviously off, and I just looked at it and said, you know what, I'm gonna rip out the whole thing and start over. So, and that is where it stayed. It is still ripped out in a pile over on my cupboard, and I haven't started it again. And I also started I guess I could show it, a headband, but again, it took me a while to figure out what was going on. I think what's happening is there's a typo in the pattern for the lace. And so I have restarted this 3 times and I hadn't been able to get the lace right until I have to follow the word description for the first 7 rows, and then row 8 I have to follow the drawn chart. And I tried just following the chart for the whole thing and it didn't work, and I'm pretty sure there's a typo in the verbal description of row 8. So again, it was something I was hoping to take out to the fair. That is not gonna happen. I have my pair of socks that I finished that is gonna be the only knitting thing I take out to the fair this year. So I'm gonna frog that again and try to start, now that I think I know what was wrong, try to start it again eventually, but knitting is not a priority right now. I did something to my hand and it really hurt to hold my knitting needles, so I've kind of been resting my hand and letting it, right in here, right through the thumb and the palm of the hand. So I've been resting it and letting it not worrying about my knitting right now. But it will be back to it eventually. So that's what I've been working on. Plans for the next 2 weeks, it's all Biscornu all the time. So next month may be kind of a boring update. Once I get done with that, I also need to keep working on the Love Michigan pattern. I need to do my monthly Mill Hills, and that is going to be kind of just whatever I feel like. I'm having a hard time just, like I said, I've got brain fog. I've been easily distracted lately, and so it's going to be whatever I can get myself to focus on. And if that means I knit for a little while, great. If that means I have to do a new start and I end up with like 10 new starts in the next 3 months, so be it. I know eventually I'm gonna get back on track. I kind of wanted to do Annihilation August, where I only worked on things I already had with the goal of getting some stuff out there, but honestly, there's a reason that some of those things that are close to being finished aren't finished yet. And it's because they just weren't holding my attention. And I think right now that would be a recipe for disaster, to try to work on something that doesn't hold my attention on a good day. So there you have it. Reading, watching, listening to. I've watched a couple interesting documentaries. One is a series since the last time I talked to you. The first one was, I think it's called A Toxic Love Story. It's on Netflix. If you're new here, I do a lot of true crime. I do a lot of documentaries because those are things that, like, I can put my head down and listen to it like a podcast and not have to worry about watching what's on the screen, so that I can focus on my stitching, because my downtime at night is really the only time I get to stitch. So A Toxic Love Story, which was, it's about a young couple that the wife is getting threatening emails that she believes are coming from the husband's ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance, and it starts there and it draws out into this like crazy, I was pretty sure I knew the first twist that this took, because it reminded me of something I had heard of before, which now looking at it, I don't think was the same case. But yeah, I had figured out the first thing, but then it took another turn that I did not see coming at all. So yeah, I thought that was a really interesting one. I did not expect it to end the way it ended. And let's see, what was the other one? Oh, it was a series, and there are several. They started out, I think, with Worst Roommate Ever, and they did Worst Ex Ever. That's got a couple seasons. I watched the first season. I started the second season, and I'm just not really into that one. But this most recent one was called Worst Neighbor Ever. And the second episode was about an incident that happened in Indianapolis while I was living there, and I remembered it. One moment, something is going on. I am getting a flurry of texts from my family. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I think I just have some reading summaries to do. That's it. And then I lost one dog. I don't know where she went. I hope she's not ripping something up. I still have the other one here because she is my Velcro dog. But anyway, since the last time that I did a video, I read, and my reading counts audio. I know some people say that audiobooks don't count as reading, but you know what? They're wrong. So, 1, 2, 3. I read 8 books. And the first one I was reading the last time that I got done, it's called When a Killer Calls. It's by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. It's a true crime book. It's about a case in the 80s where this girl was snatched from her driveway well, from the bottom of her driveway. Her dad looked out the window, saw her at the bottom of the driveway getting the mail, and then she just never came in the house. And then the person that kidnapped her started calling the house and talking to her mother and sister. And I've heard about this case before, and I wanted to read it to see if this had any other details in it. And I mean, it was okay. I don't really know what to say about it other than that it was okay. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. I don't know why I'm trying to come up with something. The next book I read was Piranesi by Susanna Clark. This is definitely not something I would normally read. It's a little bit kind of like a surreal fantasy more. But it was still really good. It's about this person who is called, for most of the book, Piranesi. He says that's not his name, but that's what people call him. And he lives in a house. Just this huge house, like we're talking hundreds and hundreds of corridors and floors, and he lives there. As far as he knows, there is one other person in the house. He calls the other, and it goes from there, talking about a third person enters the house and what happens from there. Again, like I said, this is a little bit too kind of surrealist fantasy for me. I still liked it, especially when we got towards the end, and I felt like the plot was very slow to pick up. And it was just because I didn't really enjoy the world building at the beginning. But it ended up being a pretty solid book. I want to say I gave it like 3.75 stars. I don't remember offhand, but I did end up enjoying it in the end. Then I read Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Stephen. This was a very fast read for me. It's a young adult book. It's a fantasy. It's kind of like a modern day retelling of The Picture of Dorian Gray, although they mention Dorian Gray in this book. So it's kind of like if the person that had painted Dorian Gray painted other people. So it is about mainly one female character, but it is set in an acting school in Scotland. And she is given the chance to have her portrait painted by this mysterious artist. And again, it goes from there with The Portrait of Dorian Gray. I liked it. It was a fast read. It kept pace really well. There was a lot of character development. There was a lot of unintended consequence that then the characters had to deal with, and I just really enjoyed it, and ended up picking up the other YA book she has written, which had been on my to be read for a long time, so that it's now in my physical TBR. So I think I gave this one like a 4.5, 4.75 stars. I really liked it. I'm just not good at describing things on a good day, and today with the brain fog, it's even worse. Next up was Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. This was kind of billed more as a mystery, thriller, suspense, and I would say it wasn't really that. It had a mystery, it had a series of crimes, but that wasn't the main point of the story, and the main point of the story was the development of the main character, Mad Mabel, who actually is going by Elsie at this point. And it's a story about this 81-year-old woman named Elsie, who, it turns out, all of her neighbors and the local news and everyone are discovering, due to a series of events that happened in her neighborhood, that she was the youngest person ever convicted of murder in Australia. And kind of what happens to her neighborhood and her from there on. And it was really interesting. I liked it. It wasn't what I expected, so I think I rated it a little bit lower than I might have otherwise rated it. But it was a good book, and I recommend it. Also, consider continuing my Agatha Christie. If you haven't been following along with me, Magical Stitches this year selected Agatha Christie books for their reading. I haven't been doing the stitching competition because I haven't been doing much stitching at all. As an aside, I looked up my total stitches for the year the other day, and they were at like less than 7,000. So I have been averaging less than 1,000 stitches a month, which kind of just shows you how much I've lost my stitchy mojo. So continuing, next in order, we're reading the Poirot books, is The Mystery of the Blue Train. This was better than the last one. I didn't like the last one at all. I think it might have been the Big Four. So it was better than the last one. The one thing, no, this isn't the one that I thought. The death occurred relatively far into the book. And I kind of figured out who did it just by one of the warnings that Poirot gave one of the characters at one point in the book that I don't think was supposed to stand out as much as it did. But when you've been reading mysteries long enough, it was like that one thing he said, I'm like, oh, now I know who did it. And so that kind of, I mean, I was about halfway through the book when I figured out who did it, and that kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say spoiled the book for me, but definitely took out some of the enjoyment. And I'm discovering I just don't like Agatha Christie as much as I used to. It's probably because I'm starting to be a lazy reader, and I really like the fast-paced, really accessible stuff. And so like the older language, these were written in the 20s and 30s. It's just not as easy for me to get into now, I guess. I want things simple. I don't know. Everything else in my life is complicated. I want my reading to be simple. So yeah, about 3.5 stars. And I start another one in a couple days, and I haven't looked up what one it is yet. Also read this month, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is the second book by this author, Sengu Mandana. They are set in the UK. Trying to remember where this one is set. Lancashire. And it is about a witch who was at one time set to be one of the greatest witches who ever lived, who loses her powers at the age of 15 while resurrecting her dead great aunt, who had just dropped dead in the garden earlier that morning. And she is now, it's 15 years later, and she is running the family inn, and a mysterious stranger shows up, who's not a mysterious stranger. She actually knew him. He is from the magical guild that she was exiled from, and she knew him, but a stranger shows up and changes everything, and it is a romance. This one and the one before it, which was The Secret Society of Very Irregular Witches, I've heard people say they're too twee, they're too simplistic, they're too cutesy, but honestly, that's what I was feeling like I wanted when I read this book, so I loved it. It's one of those cozy found family vibes, and yes, it's a little bit twee, but I loved it. That's what I wanted. It was a palate cleanser for me. What I've been doing, and this was one of the breaks that I did, was I am working my way through book 4 of the Stormlight Archive, which is a heavy lift. I'm doing it on audio, and it's almost 58 hours long. So it's divided into parts. And so after every part, I've read a little palette cleansers, or I've listened to a little palette cleanser to kind of give me a break from the heavy. So Piranesi was one, and then this was another one. So it was just what I wanted at the time, and it was a good pick for me. I also found myself out without a book. I know, right? I was getting my hair done and I didn't have a book, but I had my Kindle with me. So I opened Kindle Unlimited and I downloaded a book that I knew that I had at home. So I could either finish reading it on the Kindle or I could read the physical copy when I got home. And it is Ask for Andrea by Noelle Ely. And this is about three, I guess the only thing to call them is ghosts. They were all murdered by the same man at different times. They did not pass on. One of them is actually living with the man and his family and kind of observing them as they go through life. The other two are kind of off doing their own thing, but this is the story of how he murdered them, how they came to be, and what they've done with their afterlife since they died, and eventually how they all come together to try and take him down. It was a super fast read. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. This is the second Noelle Ely book I have read, and I've liked both of them. And so I think I will probably go for some more. And then the last one that I finished last night is Guild. It's the first book in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. Meh. I have been told you have to get through the first book and that it gets much better from there. That this book is really just giving the background of how, giving the background that you need for the subsequent books in the series. And I really hope that's the case because it's just kind of, it's kind of a King Midas retelling where this is basically a woman that he has turned completely to gold, but she's living gold, and she lives in a cage in his palace. And I don't know. I guess I can see that it's setting up for something. I hope it's setting up for something, but at this point, I'm not even sure that I am going to read the next book. Because I'm not really into the plot, and I don't read stuff just for the smut. I mean, I read books that contain smut, and these are supposed to be quite smutty. But I'm not going to read them if there's not a story to go with it. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about this one. If you've read the series, does it get better after the first book? Because based on this one, I don't want to go on. And anyway, that is it. That's all I have for you. Other than that, I am existing. Oh, I have acquisitions to show you. Just a very few. So as I said, I was hoping to get in some ornament stitching. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do it now, but I had ordered these 3 little ornaments and I think they're really cute, and I definitely will do them someday, even though I'm not doing them right now. And they are the Farmhouse Christmas series by Little House Needleworks. There are 9 of them, and I picked out these 3 because I thought they were the cutest. So the first one is Dairy Darlin'. And I don't want to take them out of the plastic, so hopefully this is. And the Little Red Barn. And then finally, Grandpa's Pickup. And then I got all the flosses that I needed to do them. So you can see there are the colors that are going to be with that. Again, I don't think I am going to get to them anytime in the future, but they're cute and I will make them eventually. And then the next thing was I had placed an order with 123 Stitch. I had told someone that I would give them a copy of, or I would give them my copy of a chart that I had finished. I realized I had thrown the chart away because I had marked on it in ink and it was a mess and I knew I'd never stitch it again off of that. So, and I just wanted to do something nice. I felt like doing some stitchy kindness, so I ordered that and sent another pattern along with it and some other stuff. And at the same time, I ordered myself a new pattern too. And so this is Ink Circles Tea Time. The only thing I'm not sure of is I have a sinking suspicion I may have bought this before. It may be a double. I really won't know until I get a chance to clean out my craft room. I know I do have a couple doubles. I was planning to do a giveaway this time. I'm not doing that just because of the situation that I'm finding myself in right now. But at some point I have a couple patterns that I accidentally bought doubles of and will be giving away the extras. But anyway, that is all I have for you right now. I hope that everybody has a great end to their summer as we're starting to wind down here and starting to get ready to come into fall, which is the best season of all because that's when Halloween is. And I hopefully will pick up my stitchy mojo when I get to work on all my spooky stuff. And so that is all I have for you now. I hope that you all stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.